BowmanDigitalMedia.com. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Job Seeker Spotlight. My name is Ira Bowman, joined by my new co-host, Lisa Jones. Lisa Jones, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Ira. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you. You have a lot more hair than me, so you raised the quotient of hair, quotient of hair on the show. For those of you wondering, what the heck is that behind you, Ira? I don't have my backdrop behind me today. That's all my wife's Scentsy stuff. I'm doing a shoot. In fact, Scott Shaver, who just made a comment there, he is one of my brothers at church. He goes to church with me here in Southern California, and I'm doing, along with another gentleman in our church, we're doing a new church directory. So the backdrop, in fact, all my backdrops are set up at church so that we can, take nice pictures. Anyways, so you guys get to see some busy Scentsy stuff. That's why I typically have my backdrop up, besides the fact that it's nice for branding. But we could talk about all of that today. What is this show about, Lisa? This show is about job seekers and putting them in the spotlight. How are we going to do it? Well, we have a couple different ways that we do this week in and week out. What we're going to do, we invite people first and foremost. The most helpful thing we can do is actually bring you on the show and have you as a guest on our show. 5 minutes. We'll bring you on for 5 minutes. And what we're going to do, if you come on, we're going to interview you. We're not going to grill you try to make you look bad or anything like that. Quite the opposite. In fact, we're going to try to help you elevate your game, increase your visibility, tell people who you are, where you're from, what you do, what you're looking for in your next assignment, and maybe even, help people to get to know and like you better. That's what we're trying to do. Now, if you're really smart, what you'll do, you'll take that 5-minute clip, you'll cut it up, and you'll put that on the features section of your LinkedIn profile. Why? Because some recruiters will see it and it'll give them a better idea of who you are and your personality. One thing that we cannot communicate well in our LinkedIn profiles is our personality. So having a video really helps. And recruiters are interested not only in your skill set, but they really are interested in your personality and your cultural fit. How would you fit into the company that they're trying to place? So if you would fit good, then they're going to be more inclined to push you, for that interview. And if not, then they're likely not going to. So showing the did you fill this up? Okay. All right. My daughter brought me coffee. So nice. But it feels like
Can you fill it? Oh, I didn't get that.
Yeah, you didn't get that service? Well, it only comes, all you got to do is pay for her college, and she'll do that for you too. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Culturally, it's important. So video can be a big help. Now, a lot of people are shy, as you're going to find out, Lisa. So what they'll do instead is they'll say, hey, can you do a profile review for us? We sure can. Your social media profile is super important. We kind of mostly do LinkedIn around here, but if you want me to look at your Facebook or your Instagram or your Twitter or YouTube, I will. Just send me the link of what you want me to look at, and we'll look at it, right? And we'll give you some pointers. Now, I typically hold to about 5 minutes on these things because I don't want anyone to ever feel like, Ira, you're picking on me. Because it can come across that way sometimes, right? Like, who the heck is this guy to tell me what to do? Well, I run Project Help You Grow. And who's Lisa? For those of you who don't know Lisa, besides for being the president, and I don't know what your official title is anymore, of the Google Ambassadors, right? The GGA, she also is a professional resume and CV writer. So she's joined the show because she's got a whole nother skill set. And sometimes it's good to hear it from a different voice. So Lisa's super smart. She's my friend. And she's here. Now she runs, I'm going to bring this up, Lisa, because again, if people are not familiar with you, I want them to get to know you. So Lisa has a website that y'all can go to, and it's right here. This is called Specialized Resume Services. So, I didn't bring it up yet. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like that long.
I got a little excited. But anyways, look at this. So she runs this company. Now her website's not completely complete yet. So you can find her, of course, on LinkedIn. But look, she's got testimonials on there and some services on there, and you can contact her for sure. So you can do that. She also has a LinkedIn business page, which I don't have ready, but I'll bring that up later so that you guys could go and follow that too. And if you don't know Lisa, then go ahead and send her, a connection request and let her know that you saw her on the show, so she knows that her time is worthwhile here. Like, she's not wasting her time. Anyways, are you watching the show looking for work? Are you struggling with your resume? Maybe you have a question about resumes. How should I write it? What should I format? What font should I use? What color should I use? Should I use, you fill in the blank, blah, 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 right? What about ageism? All that stuff. Guess what? We'll answer those questions. We'll do it right here. We'll do it right now. We'll do it for free. Okay, that's the point of this show. Job Seeker Spotlight. Ask your questions, raise your visibility. The show is on. Let's do this thing. So I'm going to take the invitation, the link. If you guys want to join us, what you want to do is you want to take this link and click on it. And as I told Lisa, don't click on the duck because the duck will take you and it wants you to sign up for your own account. What you want to do is just click on the link, but join the show. All right, I can't talk and type at the same time. Join the show. Actually, I can talk and type at the same time as long as I talk and type the same thing, right? I can't talk and type two different things at the same time. Anyways, so join the show by clicking on this link, and then it actually will bring you into our green room. And then once I see your cameras on and everything's good, then I'll actually bring you on the show. Okay. So, and hello, Charles, by the way, I missed that. Charles, hello. Charles. Yeah. Very nice to see you, my friend. So y'all can join us by clicking on this link here. Now, what is that going to do? That's going to bring you into the show on stage with us. We're going to do a 5-minute interview with you. Roughly 5 minutes. It's not a hard time limit, but that's what we're going to go for. Also, if you don't want to do that, but you want the profile review again, we can profile review your profile. How and what do we know about profiles? Well, Lisa has, I think you have 26,000 followers, right? Last time I checked.
Yeah, somewhere 27, 20, 26, 27, something like that.
She has a lot of followers. So do I, right? I have a few followers. So between the two of us, we have over 200,000 followers between the two of us. Okay. So, we know a little bit about how to raise your profile on social media. Now, it's not just LinkedIn. Okay. We're coming to you live, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. But I have 48,000 followers on Instagram right now. I have 10,000 followers on YouTube. So wherever you are, I have thousands of followers on all the social media platforms. Okay. I could teach you how to build out your profiles and get more for it and more from it. And that's really the point. A lot of times people are missing out on that interview because their resumes don't match their profile. Or in the old days, you really didn't need a LinkedIn profile, or if it was outdated, it wasn't a big deal. But because there's so many people applying for jobs, you really do want that LinkedIn profile to match the resume. Now, I'm not saying you can't customize it, and you should customize your resume every single time for every job description because you want a keyword match, and we can get into that too. But what I'm saying is the dates better match up. The titles better match up. You understand your education? It's all got to be consistent. If you have giant holes, that's a red flag. That's a warning, and that might be why you're not getting that interview. The other thing is a lot of you are not using, as we talk about week in and week out, you don't have cover photos. You're not using your headline right. You're not using a featured section, and all these things add up to problems and why a recruiter who is searching for their candidate and they don't know you is not landing on you. They're not sending you a message saying, hey, I've got an opportunity I'd love you to apply for. The reason why they're not doing this is because your LinkedIn profiles basically are not good enough. And so I'll help you. So who's going to be the first courageous one to come up and ask us for help, whether that be joining the show or a job seeker spotlight for your profile? In the meantime, Lisa, week in and week out, what we're going to do is we're going to do a tip, a profile if you will, tip that you're going to give. Could be on anything. It could be on resumes, on CVs, on something for interviews, on just business in general, what you see out there. But if you have something, I'm going to let you just kind of chew on this. If you have something like that, and if you have something on the tip of your tongue, that's great. But think about that for a little bit. What you would like to talk about this week. We're going to do that, everybody, at about 3/4 of the show. So we go for an hour every Thursday. We start at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. You can time adjust. I think you're 5 p.m. right?
5 Midwest.
Yeah, you're Central Time. So you're in flyover country, is what we call it.
I'm in cold country.
Okay, so if you have something like that, and we're going to come up with some snappy name for it, it'll be kind of fun. But guys, just so you know, we're here. If you miss one of these shows, you can always go to my YouTube channel and you can watch them. Or if you want to scroll through my LinkedIn feed, you can find it that way too. Actually, probably the fastest way to find it is go over to Bowman Digital Media on Facebook, because those videos air there too. It doesn't air on my personal Facebook. It airs on my business page, Bowman Digital Media. Okay, so what is one cool thing on your website that I could show people so they can kind of get a flavor? Let's look at this real quick. You said there was not much on here, but it looks pretty good. It's not about your future. I like that statement. There's an art resume writing, and this is where SRS can help you. Oh yeah. If you're having problems landing a job or getting an interview, the chances your resume needs to be updated or completely rewritten. And I agree with that. And also, I think the same thing with the LinkedIn profiles. That's why we're doing this show, giving people tips on how to write the resume. What's a common mistake that you see people making that we could share real quick?
I think one of the biggest mistakes that I see is having an objective statement at the top that's vague.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to get a job with a company and grow and show their skills. So
I want a chance to advance my career. How many times do you see that?
Over and over and over again. That says nothing. And it's valuable space that is taken up. So if you have that objective,
that's prime. That is prime real estate. Yeah.
It's prime real estate. Take it off.
You know what I do there instead, Lisa? I have what I call a professional summary statement right there.
Yep. I have I go with a branding statement, which may be one sentence, and then a paragraph that's no longer than 5 sentences deep for a professional summary that speaks to what the hiring manager is looking for.
Yeah. Do you have a template that you share with people when they ask? Do you have like a generic one?
No, I don't share templates. I find that people lose out sometimes on the template of taking them and just trying to copy it, and everybody's unique. I do have yes. Depends on if you're chronological or functional or a new graduate experience where you want to start. But
this is why I asked the question, because it's tough. It really is tough. You got to be careful. These templates, some of them are not even ATS compliant. So you really got to be careful. Like, okay, are you going through an ATS or not? Because if you're not going through an ATS, if you're dealing with somebody who owns the company and you're handing it to them, then you can make it look really nice. And you probably should make it look really nice, because humans by nature are visual. I make my living with graphics. So trust me, I get it. But the ATS doesn't like all the pretty stuff. So you gotta be careful. And you need to know, like you just said, there's 5 different reasons or 5 different types of resumes that you would construct. Which one are you? And I think part of that also goes to what vertical market you're in, right? What industry are you? If you're in graphic design, again, if you're handing somebody a plain, text doc, you're probably not going to get hired, because they're going to go, this person has no creativity at all. But again, I have started to have people that I talk to ask if they're talking to the recruiter, the internal recruiter or the external recruiter, okay, what ATS program are they using? Or if they're not using the ATS, then great. But at least then you can go, like if it's Taleo, for example, you can go to Oracle's website and you can look and see, okay, here's the fonts that they accept. Here's the sizes they accept. Do they accept a PDF or not? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of different things that can get people hung up on these resumes. And that's why I love it when somebody says, "Oh, I'm going to go use a professional resume writer." And you're one of two that I recommend all the time. So I recommend you, and I recommend Curtis Tompkins from Job Radio Today. I don't know if you know him or not, but he's a good friend of mine too. And I have you both actually on my partners tab at Project Help You Grow for that reason. But you both are doing good work. So yeah. Anyways, there's nobody who's asked to have a profile review. This is like the first time I can remember being this far into the show. So let me do something just in case people are not sure, or maybe they're just fascinated. They want to know more about you. If you guys have any questions for us, put them in the show. And if you want a profile review, all you need to do is you need to copy the link and hang on a second. I think I have a. Oh, I don't. Okay. I'm going to write one real quick. If you want a free profile review, all you need to do is copy and paste your URL. That's the website address to your profile and put it in the comments and say, please review. You're giving us permission to do it. I don't want to ever assume that somebody wants one, even if they've made a comment. So I'm going to say link. If you do this, let me show you guys what I'm talking about, just in case people are not sure what I mean. I haven't had to explain this in a while, but maybe we've got some new people watching. So if you want to do it, what you're going to do, just go to, let's say you want me to do your LinkedIn, because that's the most common. So you would go to your LinkedIn, go to your profile, and then you just click this link right here. And then you would put that in the comments of the show. So like right here, say, I like to use the word please. So you would do that, and then it would look like that in the comments. See, and then I'll go and I'll grab that link and I'll pull it up over on the side, and then I'll do your profile review. So like if we were doing a profile review for me, right? Like I would look at the cover photo, which right now is, because we're live, it does this, which is pretty cool. But I would be looking at the headline, and I will come down and look at the featured section, and we'll look at the activity. Well, no, we don't really look at the activity too much. We do look at the about section, the experience section, the skills and endorsements, and then the recommendations. So we'll cover pretty much all those things. Sometimes in the 5 minutes, we don't get to do it all. Depends on if you've had a profile review before or not. A lot of times, the very first thing we see is people don't have a cover photo, and I think that's one of the most critical things. In fact, I'm going to show you one of my cousin, just because I know he won't mind. So like when my cousin was a job seeker, we set this up, and he didn't have anything, right? And so I fixed up his profile photo, but then I also added this because this is that professional summary statement. These are the key words extracted from that, right? Communicate, rapport, train, analyze. So we pulled those right out of his resume and put that up. And why? Because if a recruiter comes, or if a potential employer comes to your LinkedIn profile, the average profile review, or the length of time that somebody would be on your profile, is 6.5 seconds. So you want to communicate to them right away what it is that you do. Now, this is not dynamic. It's in graphical terms, this is what we call static. So that means like if you hit the search button, it doesn't know that says that. It's like a flat image. It doesn't read it. So it's not dynamic. But this goes to the human component. The human knows right away that this guy is good at communication, rapport, training, and analyzing. I mean, that's what he's claiming anyways. So if they're looking for somebody like that, that's going to help set the hook and have them actually scroll down and read more about it, right? And then see here in the featured section, we've got a picture of him. I built this collage. You can do this, by the way, in Canva for free. You guys don't have to spend money to do it, but I built this for him in Photoshop, just in full disclosure. But anyways, notice that it's the same font as here. It's the same colors. So now we've got a brand campaign. You see what I mean? So it's more aesthetically pleasing that everything matches up on him. So that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about when we do these profile reviews. A lot of you miss this point. So if you're watching this show and you're too embarrassed or you don't want to admit that you need the help, that's okay. I get it. So that's why we're doing this, since we've got some dead time. But anything, so this is your first time on the show, Lisa. Is there anything that you would like to add or suggest? You know, a lot of people don't have one. So obviously anything is better than nothing, in my opinion. But, you know, since you haven't done this with me before and people are watching, they're listening for you too, your opinion, what do you think about that cover photo?
I think his cover photo is great. I think it's professional, and that's what there are a couple of things without having a cover profile photo, and then the banner. Now for Anthony's profile photo, a lot of times you get a connection request. If the person doesn't have a photo, I might not connect with the person without a photo. If I don't know who they are without a photo,
yeah.
Sometimes it's, you know, the dog is very adorable. The clock, the inanimate object is adorable, but
right, the cartoon character. But even worse, this is something that I learned when I started Project Help You Grow. I've been helping people with this for 3 years now. You need to make sure, especially job seekers. Oh my gosh. If you're a job seeker, you got to have your picture. It's got to be your picture, like Lisa's saying. That's very important. But also, you need to open up your settings so everybody can see it, even when they're not connected to you.
Mhm.
Because you're on LinkedIn as a job seeker auspiciously to find a job, right? That's what you're trying to do. So why would you hide your picture from everybody? Now, here's the main answer that I found. Most people, they actually aren't doing it on purpose. The default settings on LinkedIn are restrictive, meaning that only first level connections can see your face and can see a lot of your data. But the problem is a lot of you have like 100 connections or you have 200 connections. You know what I mean? Very small network. And so by keeping your pictures, your security settings at the default setting, which is to not show people, then you're hurting yourself a lot. If we could just today get across that one thing to you, to turn on all your security settings to open. It's not Facebook. It's not Instagram. It's not, you know, you're not sharing your personal stuff on LinkedIn. I don't think most people aren't. So there really is no reason for you to hide any of it, honestly. Like you should open it wide open, especially as a job seeker. So let's get that straight too, because a lot of people are seeing, like when they go to their profile, Lisa, they see a picture, right? Like she's got a picture here, and hers is open in full disclosure because we can see it here on StreamYard. But one of the ways I know that they don't have it open is because even if I'm connected with them on LinkedIn, but on here it shows up as a gray box with a question mark. It's like, oh, okay. So you don't have your security settings open. And that's a problem because how many recruiters are looking for somebody with your skill set, but they're not connected to you. Now, a recruiter may or may not just keep moving and go, okay, either A, they're antisocial, or B, they don't understand how LinkedIn really works and they haven't opened up their settings. Either way, if you're telling everybody that you're really good at technology and you're really good at social media and I can't see your picture and I can't see your information because you didn't open your security settings, you can say how good you are, but you've shown me that you're not and you don't understand how this really works. So,
you know, I find that a lot of people don't know which security setting is what the settings are for. Maybe we should run through the settings someday.
we could definitely do that. We could do that right now because I think that's super important. So what you want to do, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you come down here to settings. Okay. And then you want to come into visibility and just open all these up. So change it so it's public. So this, everybody, it's full profile. Just open it up to the most open one, but that's where you do it. So you go profile and settings, visibility, and then you don't have to open up your visibility of your LinkedIn activity, but you should have your profile photo and all your details available, contact information. What if they want to email you? If you have your email address in your profile and you've opened it up, now they can send you an email. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. Okay. So that's what I suggest people do. Now, we do have a person asking for a profile review, which we get quite a few of these usually. So thank you. I don't know how to say that. Is that Voikazi? I don't know. I apologize if I said it wrong. I probably did. But anyways, we're going to give you a profile review. So Lisa, I'm going to let you go first. So what we want to do is just, let's look at this section. So you talk about this section, and then after you go, I'll go, and maybe just like a minute or so, just for timing sake. So we'll go like a minute each, and then we'll scroll down.
Okay, so profile picture is great. Looks like maybe possibly a new graduate without seeing the rest of it. Congratulations on graduating or speaking at a commencement. I would do a picture a little bit closer so someone can see you, because without seeing people want to see your face. You know, it's just without seeing you at all, we don't know. Are you smiling? Are you nice? Or, you know, they can tell. And the other thing that I see right off the bat is the banner. Talks about hashtag medical software and health systems. So you're a customer service specialist, CTA, CRA, MLT. You need to, I would revise that with the keywords that you're looking for. If it's medical software, healthcare systems, what do you do with those? Are you looking to stay in customer service as a customer service specialist? If you are, that's great. Just make sure that that's what you are looking for, because you have to be, number one, you have to be findable. And that is the thing with SEO keywords. You need to be findable. Then once you're findable, your profile needs to be attractive to a recruiter, a hiring manager. So we need all these things in place through here.
Yeah, I'm going to step in. It's almost like you've watched the show before, because I would have said a lot of the same thing. Guys, again, for profile photos, I always recommend shoulders up. Zoom in as close to your face as you possibly can. Why? When you do the interview, you want them to recognize you. So this picture doesn't work for a variety of reasons. You're actually shading your face. It's kind of hard. Maybe Lisa can't even see it, but you're shading your face so you can see, but you're making it worse because you're hiding your face. So this is a horrible profile photo. It's not a bad photo. It does show that you graduated. This actually would be better here. The problem I have with the cover photo, which actually Lisa didn't have time to address, is on a mobile device. And again, 60% plus people are watching this from a phone, from a smart device. Where does the picture lie? Your cover photo doesn't sit here on a mobile device. It's
right more.
So you're covering up. I'm assuming this is you now. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is you. I can't tell from the picture. But whichever one you are, it's covering you up. It's covering partially this one and this one up. So whichever one of these two people you are, you're getting covered up by your profile photo on a mobile device. That's not good. Plus the thing, let's go back to Anthony Norman's example for just a second. Why do we put the writing on the right in Canva? We do that because no matter if they're doing it from the desktop or from the mobile device, the words on the right are always visible. And you could have easily just taken this list right here, these 4 things, and put them blah, 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 right? And now it's there visually, even when they're scrolling, right? It's there. They got it. To Lisa's point about the headline. Now, I actually think you've done a good job with your headline. This, believe it or not, Lisa, is better than 99% of the ones we're going to see.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
A lot of them say this. They say title at company name, which is hilarious to me because they've got the frame open to work, which means they're looking for a job. So why would you want to take your headline and advertise for the company? You're not even with them anymore. But a lot of people don't think about it. So what you said, which is brilliant, and I call it LinkedIn SEO, is what are people going to search for? If they don't know you, but they're looking for someone with your skill set, what are they going to search on LinkedIn right here in the search section? That's what needs to be there. And then you can fill out the details in the about section. That's really what that should be. About section needs to not be the history of what you've done. It needs to paint a picture about where you are and where you're headed. So about faces forward, and the experience section on LinkedIn faces backwards. You've got an experience section with all your job and your job history, and then you've got your education, which talks about more, and then you've got your recommendations, your skills and endorsements. So all of that stuff is past tense. The about section, the features section, the headline should be now, moving forward. So anyways, that's my philosophy in like 30 seconds or less. We're gonna keep going. Featured section. Again, I think this is really good. I'm gonna let Lisa go first before I put in my 2 cents, but you've got a featured section. So I can tell that you watch this show because you've done a lot of the things that I teach week in and week out already. The biggest thing I've seen so far that you need to really button up is the photos. You need a better profile photo and you need a better cover photo. So we've got here certificates is what these are. They're certificates of their graduation, I believe. Without reading, it's tough to read these on the show, but that's what they are. So if you've watched the show before, type in the comments for me, what is it that this person is missing? What is the thing that I'm going to say after Lisa goes here? Lisa, I make this recommendation every single week. You're going to get tired of hearing it probably too. But for those of you that are watching that know, if somebody puts that in the comments, that'll just make me smile. But Lisa, what would you say here? What are we missing here? What should they do with this featured section?
I think it would be a good place to put a video, multimedia, and let people hear you, get to know you. I think that's prime real estate for that too. LinkedIn's got the option now for the video. You get 30 seconds there, Ira, at the top. But I think that's a good spot there to also put something that you get a little bit longer. You don't want to go too long, but people want to know your personality. They want to know, they want to hear you talk. They want to know if you're talking, if you know what you're applying for, what you're looking for. They want to know that you know what you want.
This is my featured section, Lisa. What's the first thing that happens? If you click here, it takes you to video. Booyah. So you got it, right? And I agree 100% with what you just said. So look, I don't just tell people to do stuff and don't do it myself. Like you can see everything that I've done. If you watch the show, if you go back through my profile, you'll see that I do it too. It's the smart thing to do. So if you want to be smart, listen to what people say, but also watch what they do. And where they match up, that's something you really should pay attention to. So video first, 100%. And to your point, keep it short. Mine's 120 seconds. It's 2 minutes long. Job seekers, I think up to 5 minutes would be okay, but make sure you're not rambling. Have yourself a script. This is one of those things. I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. I've never taught this before anywhere. This has been something that I've held to myself until right now. If I had breaking news sound, I would break it. Here's what you can do. Go to the App Store, okay? Go and find yourself a free teleprompter app. You write yourself a script in Word doc or text, and then you put that thing on a tablet right next to the camera, and it will scroll down as you talk. It will actually continue to scroll. I use this all the time in my photography and videography business, okay? They're free. If you need the app name, ask me in a minute, and I'll look on my phone and I'll find it for you. But there's lots of them. It doesn't matter. Just find one of them that's free because, you're not going to use it for a teleprompter for many things. But this is something that you can do. You can write that script. You don't want to have starts and stops. You don't want to sound like, you're trying to figure this thing out. You want to have it clean. So teleprompter, use one. And you just want to make sure that you put that teleprompter right next to the camera. If you want to know what it's packed up. I have a real teleprompter. I actually use one. So a teleprompter, what it does is it mounts over the camera. So like here's one of my cameras, right? So it mounts over the camera and there's a mirror. And so the tablet usually then will sit flat. The mirror will show it to you. So when you're looking into the camera, you can see it. You're not going to be able to do all that, but just put the tablet right above, mount it somehow above the camera, and then you can look into, you can read the teleprompter, make it look like you're looking into the camera. So that's my suggestion, right? 2 minutes, 3 minutes tops. Don't go like, 12 minutes. We had somebody come on the show. I love her to death. She's one of my good friends. And she did one. It was 10 minutes long. And I was like, no one's going to watch it. I don't care if I'm in it. It was me, Liz Capance, and my friend. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter. They're still not going to watch the whole thing. But they do, if they watch 3 minutes of it, they'll get an idea for her personality. So
I think the first video that I ever did, I did like, might be exaggerating by 5, but I did about 30 takes. It was a short video. It was like 3 minutes.
I think I did more than that. My first one. I'm just being honest. I think I did like 50 or 60 or 70 or I recorded a 30-second to a minute video in like 3 hours, and my wife was completely just like, "Are you serious? You're still doing this, Ira?" That was back in 2018, and I was like, I didn't have none of this stuff. I do miss my old desk, though. I don't know if you remember that. Remember my old wood desk? I miss that thing.
It's been a while since you moved. Is that the last time you had that?
Yeah, when I was up in the Bay Area, I had it was a built-in desk, and it was beautiful. But I decided not to try to move it because for those of you who really know me, I'm really good at computer stuff, but I'm really bad at physical labor. Like, you don't want me building it. I'm good at demo, and I could carry heavy things, but you don't want me coming in with like saws and screwdrivers, and I'm not that guy, right? So my wife built our shower, not me, because I don't know what I'm doing. So,
impressive.
all right, so we're gonna go back because I just want to finish this up. So you had this the same thing as me. I think this is good. The other thing that I would say needs to be here, if you can. Now it looks like you're a fresher, so a recent graduate, so you probably don't have this yet. But for those of you that have professional experience, the other thing that I suggest here, so video, certificates, awards, those kinds of things, which you've got, and then photographs of you in your professional element. So let's say, for example, like I could go back to my cousin for a minute. Remember I did that collage for him? Because remember, one of the power words we used was training. So I said, okay, let me show you training. So in that collage, he's up on stage in front of the group training them because he was a district manager. And so then that visually helps to verify the claims that you're making. So again, it's a trust building process. They're going to be more likely to trust what you say. If anything they can validate, that's why the recommendations and referrals down below, the endorsements, are so important, because now that's other people saying that you're good at it, not just you saying you're good at it, right? So that's why I like testimonials on websites. Like if you go to Lisa's Specialized Resume Services website, you can see on there she's got some testimonials from happy clients. That validates that you're actually good. Again, anybody can say what they want. So when you get other ways to independently verify, and the photos can do that. So anyways, I would put photos there. Now, we're not going to read the about section. Just remember what I said. Paint forward. So a lot of people on this are too busy telling me about all the things they've done in their career, and I don't care, especially when you're doing career pivots. You're changing careers. If it's not current, relevant to the job you're trying to get, you don't want to get off topic. Stay on point. That's my suggestion in that section. And then here, the number one mistake, and it looks like you've got this here too, you don't have these turned on. So people cannot endorse you. And you can use up to 50 of them, so use them all. And I'm going to tell you a secret. Nobody is going to search for Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office or Microsoft Excel. So get rid of those and use other ones that are better, right? Don't waste your bullets. You get 50 of these, use them all, and use them. What should this be? Honestly, this should be the keyword list. Go through every job description for the jobs that you're applying for, extract the keywords of those, and use them here. That's the skills that you need to have in this list. It's really that simple. People overcomplicate this one all the time. And you don't have any recommendations on here. So you want to get with some people. Could be, now I know you're new. Okay, you haven't worked a lot, so that's okay. People that you went to school with, get them to write a recommendation. The ones that you did really well, like the classes you did really well in, get the people that were in that class or on LinkedIn and say, hey, can you write me a recommendation or referral for this subject? And now you've got 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there would be appropriate for a fresher. You don't need to have 50 of them like I do, but you should have a couple, right? Get one from a professor, a counselor, a guidance counselor, get somebody maybe that you interned with. You do have some work history here. So, get one of your boss, your manager, somebody from HR, somebody to write you a recommendation that will really help you out. And I think that's all we're going to have time for on this one, because we have a couple others in the queue here. So let's go to the next one, which is... all right. This is cool because he's obviously got some of this going now. My suggestion is the same as the last person. I just said it. You've got this in the wrong spot. You should flip-flop these. You're a digital marketer. You don't want that covered up when they're on the phone. That's going to cover that right up. And frankly, as a digital marketer, you should know that. So get that fixed right away. Just flip-flop these things. Okay. It's okay to cover. These are just stock photos, right? I know that. Most people don't, but these are all stock photos. You didn't take these photos. So flip those over here. Flip that over there. That'll be better. All right. So Lisa, your turn.
Okay. Digital marketer. Now, exactly what Ira has been saying. And the best thing to do if you have access to a desktop and a cell phone, check both views before I've had to move mine over, shift mine once in a while because sometimes LinkedIn shifts things. But make sure that you're testing both versions out so that you're not going to cover anything up. So you are a digital marketer. I am a digital marketer. Okay. I would suggest that you have your own work up in there.
Yeah, I was actually just about to say that. Especially, look at what he says below. So you've got a conflict here.
Yeah.
Digital marketing is not graphic design, guys.
Right.
I don't know who out there is telling people this. It's marketing is not graphics. Graphics is a cousin of marketing, but they don't go hand. They go hand in hand, but it's not the same job. If I hire you as a digital marketer, I'm not hiring you to make pictures. That's not the goal, right? So if you want to be a graphic designer, to Lisa's point, then you should have your own graphics up here. Why are you showing me stock work? Look, I could recreate your banner in about 5 seconds for free, right? So that doesn't show your skills. If you're going to advertise yourself as a graphic designer, then you should have your own custom work. And if you're going to be a digital marketer, I'm okay with using stock photos. We do it all the time in marketing. They're different things. So you're confusing. Look, if I'm a recruiter recruiting for a digital marketer, I'm looking for a certain set. If I'm looking for a graphic designer, I'm looking for a certain set. You've not shown me skills actually in either. You've actually just turned me off. I'm just going to be good. Like I said, I don't like to be rude to people. I just, it's painfully honest, but you gotta have to go back to the drawing board here and figure out what you want to be. Now, if you're a digital marketer with graphic design skills like I am, that's cool. But again, you got to display this stuff in the smartest way, because people are hiring you to do this for them. If you can't do it for yourself, it's a problem. Again, I can't show you my banner right now. I wish I could. If I could show you my banner, it has the area that I'm at in the corner. It has social media manager actually written in it, because that's the main skill that my company gets hired for. And it has me with a picture of my camera. No stock photos. Every single image on my page is something that I created myself. Why? Because I want to show people my skill set. So for you, I have no doubt that you can do these things. I don't know why you would advertise for them if you can't, but for whatever reason, you're showing us somebody else's work. Now, again, 99% of the population might not know that. But if you're dealing with a recruiter in the digital marketing space or the graphic design space, they are going to know that, and they're going to keep on scrolling. Okay. Mm-hmm. So who are you trying to, you got to remember your audience here. If you're trying to find a job, you're dealing with people that do this for a living. We know more than the average bear does, right? The general population on this stuff. So you're not fooling us. You're hurting yourself, right? Now, if you want to say aspiring graphic designer, aspiring digital marketer, that's a whole nother thing. Because now I'll go, okay, this is an entry level person. I haven't scrolled down yet, so I don't know. Maybe you do that down below. But just from this right here, you're not claiming to be new, right? Like the other person was in cap and gown. And so Lisa and I right away knew, okay, they're fresher, right? To just use the term that you guys use over there.
Fresher.
They're new graduate over here in the United States. We don't call them freshers. But anyways, right? You're freshly graduated. You have no experience. Okay, totally get it. But then you should say that somewhere so that you can get people to scroll down. Because honestly, right now, I was hiring for digital marketing this past month. I would have, if I would have came to your profile, I just would have went right to the next one because I had 100 of them in an hour. So I had so many, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what happens. People come on. There's an expression in digital marketing called bounce rate. And I don't know if you know what that is, but a bounce rate is when, people don't wait. They don't have patience. They click on it. Either your page doesn't load or it loads. They don't see what they want above the fold and they click right off it. So hopefully that'll help you. I think this design over here is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I would love to see your own work. Don't show me vector art that you pilfered from, Google or wherever you might have got it.
The other thing is where it says I am digital marketer. If you're going to use a capital D, use a capital M. You're going to want to be consistent in.
Yeah. Well, he's got the I.
And then
Well, and also I am digital marketer. There's an A missing too, right? This is bad. This is bad English. So there's all kinds of problems here. But again, I don't want you guys to think I'm totally mean. The other thing here is you should have, even if you are a digital marketer that does graphic design, and I am one. I'm certainly not the only one. There's lots of us who do, Photoshop and Illustrator and all that stuff. You can see it down here in my. You just look down here in my. You can see it. There's my Illustrator, my Photoshop right there. I'm in these programs every day. Okay. So if you're doing graphic design, that's fine. But down here, you should also have digital marketing, right? And you should probably list out what you're doing. Are you doing animations? Are you doing logo design? What kind of design are you doing? Because for 20 years, I did print graphic design, which is its own specialty. And now I hardly do any print graphics at all. I'm mostly doing, logo design and web design, right? So what graphics are you building and what are you building them for? Are you using Premiere? Are you using Lightroom? Are you taking photos? Like, I mean, what are you doing with it? It's easy to say, but show me some stuff, right? Let's see some pictures of you. Let's see your work and let's see more here in the header. I believe you have 120 characters that you can use here. So you should spell them out. What do you want people to find? Like when they search here, what do you want to be found for? Because digital marketer, frankly, isn't even in contention right here. So if they're searching for digital marketer, you wouldn't be in the list. Now, what's interesting is right here, it says, I just caught this, marketer. So it's almost like that's your last name. It's interesting. There's more to the story here than what's going on. Something doesn't add up, but I'm going to keep going. So let's look at the about section. Lisa, what do you think about this? We haven't talked about this one at length yet, so I'm going to let you go first.
Honestly, it doesn't say much. It doesn't tell me what your skills are. I can't tell much about your personality. This is prime real estate to say what you're good at, what you're unique at, why you're different. And you can show a little personality in there. It shouldn't, that's where you write in the first person. But this doesn't say much. I still can't tell exactly what Ira said. If I'm looking for maybe I need someone to design a trifold brochure for me. Maybe I need a logo. I want to know, I want to go exactly to someone that's offering the services that I need. So you need to list those out.
If
Probably show some good examples in your media section.
if I haven't scrolled past here, right? So if I'm just looking from here to here, I really don't know what you do. I have no idea. Because I don't know if you guys can read it on the screen, but what it says is, thank you for visiting my profile, which is polite. Nice.
Mhm.
I'm a full-time freelancer with perfect skills. What skills? I have no idea. What industry? I still don't know if you're marketing or graphic design. I'm here to provide you with great quality service, and my core value is to provide fantastic customer service. I'm going to tell you there's an expression in English called superfluous. This is all superfluous. It's just fluff. This is all fluff. This doesn't help you. I'm very communicative and very easy to work. Again, this English is awful. And I understand, look, I'm not trying to pick on your English because it's probably like your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh language. You probably speak a bunch of languages and you're really smart. And I'm not trying to make you feel dumb, but this in English doesn't work. So we need to correct it. I usually reply to messages within a few minutes, and I'm very much looking forward to working with you. Thank you. Look, I'll tell you what this does tell me. This tells me that this guy is very polite and professional. I like that, right? So, but what you need here is to paint a picture. This is what I do. This is what I want to do. Here is how I could help you. Because you're not really looking for a job here. And actually, this profile shouldn't even be on the show because you're not a job seeker. You're a freelancer. You're self-employed and you're looking for work. But I'm going to give you the help anyways. What you should do is figure out, okay, I work in, Lisa Jones I've done design work for Global Goodwill Ambassadors, right?
Yes.
So Lisa Jones actually been on Zoom with me while I've had Photoshop and while I've had Illustrator open doing design work. She could speak to you firsthand about my skill set because she's watched me build a logo from scratch. Okay. So
totally awesome.
It is fun, right?
Yes.
But if you didn't know me, if you were to go through my profile and read my about section, again, it's just what it is. I'm happily married. Okay, all that stuff. Professional photographer, videographer, and graphic artist with a flair for writing blogs and press releases. At the core, Ira's trying to make the world a better place. Be kind, blah, 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 blah. You read it, but do you see what it says right there? I'm a professional photographer, videographer, and graphic artist. You don't have to guess what my skill set is. I tell you right there. Mm-hmm. For anybody who doesn't know. Now, I've got more in here because I've been, working for 25 years. I've been working for longer than that, frankly, but we'll just leave it at that, right? But then also, this is what you're missing too, my friend, because you're a freelancer. So tell me about your business. What does your business do? I help small, medium-sized businesses build and engage their digital audience. Most people looking for more website traffic, they don't know how to get it. We take the task on so you can focus on running your business. What I'm doing here is I'm talking directly to my audience and saying, look, if you hire me, I'm going to resolve your headache. Your headache is you don't have enough eyeballs on your LinkedIn social media page, on your website. You want more. Okay, I'll do that for you so you can do what you're good at, right? Maybe they're an attorney, an accountant, a professional coach, whatever it is that they do, whatever service they provide. They're good at something else. So what I think you need here is something like that. Tell people, instead of how professional and courteous and responsive you are, tell them what you're good at, your skill set. You're a photographer, you're a graphic artist, whatever. Then give me a paragraph on who you help and how you help. If you do those three things, tell me your skills, tell me who it is that you work with, and tell me how you help them. 1, 2, 3. Your about section will take you from being a waste of time to being a champion for you, and will help you. If people read it, it will help you get business. And that's all the time I'm going to take on your profile because, again, you're not a job seeker. This is a job seeker spotlight, not freelance, not help me get hired as a freelancer. Subtle difference maybe, but a difference nonetheless, okay? So we're going to go to Brian Wilkinson, because he's asked for a profile review, and we'll do that, okay? All right. So Brian Wilkinson. Oh, all right. So you see, we end up saying a lot of the same stuff. So we've covered this a little bit. So if you just want to summarize quickly on this one, Lisa, on this top here.
I think he's the third row back, second one over. See, that's the issue. People want to know.
Yeah. You went straight to the cover photo. I was looking. I'm sorry, the profile photo. I was looking at the cover photo.
Nothing in the banner.
Is he this one? Is he this one? Or is he this one? I don't know. Is it, you know what I mean? Like, are you the dark gray? Are you the light gray? Are you? We have no idea what's going on here. So again, for those of you who are not familiar, the free website that you can use, and you don't have to use it. You can use anything you want. I like to mention the free resources around here. So the free one is Canva, CANVA.com. You can use Photoshop if you have it, or you can hire somebody like me, or maybe we got a freelancer. Maybe you could come over and hire this guy, and have him make your cover photo for you. There's all kinds of things. You can go to Upwork, you can go to Fiverr. I mean, there's all kinds of ways that you guys can get these photos if you need them. But if you want it for free, go to canva.com and make one. They actually have a LinkedIn template for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've talked about this already. Give me a photo of you looking into the camera with a smile on your face, no shade, nothing silly, so that when we see that, we recognize you. When we interview you, whether it's a Zoom or in-person meeting, we're more comfortable with you because we know what you look like. And for those of you, my senior saints out there, by the love of all things holy, please do not use a photo that's 25 years old. Why? Because when they look at your LinkedIn profile and they start to get familiar with your face, your profile photo, and then you interview and you look like you're the parent of the person that they're, you know what I mean? People can't help it. There's a shock value that happens there. I would rather you not have a glamour shot, but have a shot that's what you actually look like, so that when you are in that interview, and frankly, for a lot of you in sales, you make the same mistake. You're not even looking for a job, but you have a picture. I worked with a guy in Las Vegas back in 2005, 6, 7. And he was a professional model back in the 70s and 80s. And his LinkedIn profile to this day are some of those professional shots that he took back in the 70s and 80s. But he's like 40 years older. It looked like it could be his grandson. You know what I mean? Anyways. Don't do that to people, guys, because it doesn't give you the advantage that you're really seeking. It actually is the opposite. It can hurt you. Now, this right here, actually, I think he did a good job. Experienced merchandising and operations manager, part-time home service provider. So I think that's pretty good. There's probably some keywords that need to be infused. You might have to clean this up a little bit. You probably were running against the 120 character limit, I'm going to guess. So this is not the issue. These certainly, the cover photo and the profile photo, definitely need to be addressed more. 726 followers. This is an important number for us to keep in mind, just because when we look at the stuff down below, like how many, I get this question a lot, Lisa, if they have 726 connections or followers on LinkedIn, how many recommendations should they have? And I would say anything under 1,000, if you have like 5 or 6, you're doing pretty good, right? So yeah. Mm-hmm. Like with me, I have 191,000 followers. So that means I have 30,000 connections on LinkedIn. So I should have more. I think I should have more than 5. I have 50 something right now, but I had over 100. I went through and deleted a bunch of them. Kind of like, I was talking about the word fluff earlier. Like if the recommendations are fluff, you don't need them. You want them to say something that's valid. But let's look at his experience section here. Experienced merchandise manager with demonstrated history of working in the retail industry, skilled in planograms, coaching, sales, retail, and store management, strong administrative professional with an associate's degree focused in liberal arts and sciences, liberal studies from Farmingdale State College. Okay, so that's what it says. So what do you think?
I think it doesn't say anything about what he wants, barely says anything about what he's unique at, what he likes to do, what he wants to do, where he wants to go. I don't think you need you don't need your associate's degree in there. There's a place for your education.
Yeah, that's down below. I'm going to tell you what I like first.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like skilled in planograms. I know that that's an important part of retail right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like that. In fact, you might want to, planograms is the word that your company, I'm just going to tell you, Brian, that's the word that your company uses. For most of us, that's going to be floor plan or layout. You might want to use a couple different words for the people who don't know what a planogram is. I sold large format plotter equipment for a long time, so I'm very familiar with the terminology. In fact, I sold to companies like Ross Stores, and people always go like, "What do they do?" I'm like, "It's the floor plans, right?" So it is a thing. CAD, like if you're familiar with CAD and those things, like you might want to add those words to it. But to your point, Lisa, Brian, what you're missing here is you're not painting a picture of what you want to do. This is more historical.
Mm-hmm.
This is more of what you've already done, and you may not want to stay at that level. You may want to climb the ladder. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell us what you're good at, and I want you to tell us, like, you have 23 years. I'm just looking at this at Bed Bath and Beyond. Okay, you have 23 years experience. That means you're at least 43, right? You're getting up there. You're going to fight against ageism. I hate to say that, but that's what's going to happen. People are going to look at that and go, "Whoa, this guy's old." Okay. So here's what I want you to do in your about section to help you with this fight that you're going to be up against with ageism is I want you to paint at least a 5-year plan in your about section. What are you going to be doing in 5 years from now? Lay it out. You're going to get that question in the interview, so you might as well tackle it up front anyways. What are you going to be doing 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? If you know for a fact that you're going to be working for the next 15 years, I want you to work that into your about section because it's going to come up anyways, right? So just do that here. And it also can help with them to see like, okay, this person has district manager potential. Like, so right here, your assistant store manager. I'm assuming that you would like to at least be a store manager at this point, a general manager or a district manager. That's kind of the next logical step, right? And with 23 years experience as an assistant manager for 4 years, you're in line. I'm sure if I read this, look, store manager, all this stuff doesn't surprise me at all. Okay. So you got management skills out the wazoo. So here, instead of telling me about the job history, tell me your managerial strengths. Are you good at, training? Are you good at, what are you good at? You know what I mean? Like there's different types of managers. There's the managers that can rally people and they'll follow them off a cliff. And then there's the managers that everybody, they can't stand. So tell us a little bit about your managerial skill set and paint that picture, especially if you want to be promoted.
Yeah, I think 23 years, and he has a history of being promoted. 23 years does speak volumes, so that's good.
Oh, yeah, you've got a great thing. Another thing here that I really like. Now, I don't know if Bed Bath and Beyond is the only place you've ever worked. I'm going to guess that it isn't, but it's the only thing you have listed here, and I think that's super smart. There's no reason for you to go back, and have jobs that are, 30 years old, especially if they're not concentrated where you're headed, right? So let's say you worked in fast food or you worked as a construction guy or delivered pizzas or whatever, right? Whatever you did before that 30 years ago, if it's not relevant to your job search, not having it on there, I think is completely smart. I like it. It does help. I don't know if you're 40 or 60 by looking at this, so that helps. Now, this gives me a little bit of a clue that you and I are basically the same age. So I was right. You're in your 40s. Okay. So I'm going to guess that this actually was your first job. Anyways. Okay. But here's the deal. I learned this from Kirsty Bonner. She told me the same thing I'm going to tell you. You can now take these dates out. I don't know that I would leave those dates in because people go, "Oh my gosh, he's at least 45," because I can do the fast math, right? So if you're 45, 43, 44, 45, somewhere in there, that's what I'm guessing here, then you probably want to take these dates out. You don't want to preclude yourself from getting the interview. And it sounds weird in your 40s to have to worry about ageism, but you do. 40s is when it starts. It's not as bad as in its 50s. Certainly not as bad as when you get in your 60s, but you don't want to make it obvious how old you are. So just, in my opinion, strip those dates off. Skills and endorsements, you do have these turned on, which is good. And with 783 followers, these numbers are right about what I would expect them to be, right at about 10. So doing good there. You've got some in here, but you don't have any done. I'm going to give you guys a tip. If you want skills and endorsements from other people, find people that have skills and endorsements that you feel comfortable endorsing and endorse them for those. Because I have found on LinkedIn, it's about 1 in 2 people will give it to, they won't say thank you. They'll just come into your profile and give you a couple back. It's like, okay, you're going to do it for me. I'll do it for you. So, I'm certainly not saying go just randomly pick people and randomly do it. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is go to your peers that you've worked with. You worked at Bed Bath & Beyond for 23 years. You worked with a lot of the same people for a long time. So go into their profiles, and it doesn't have to be somebody you worked with at Bed Bath & Beyond. It could have been a vendor, right? So they could have been your vendor, or you could have been their vendor, right? So working at different companies, but still observing their work, that still counts. Like, for example, Lisa could endorse me for graphic design. Why? Because I've worked for her building graphics, and she saw me do it. You know what I mean? So she could tell you, like, oh, he's a wizard. It's kind of fun.
That was fun.
It actually had Richard watch. Was Richard watching too? I don't know if Richard.
No, he wasn't watching that day, but
yeah. Anyways, it was kind of fun. It was me, Lisa, and Richard sitting there talking about a logo for Google Global Ambassadors. Anyways, the other thing is not here is the recommendations. You do with 23 years. I actually think this is important. You need to get probably 2 or 3. What would you say, Lisa?
I would definitely, reach out to some of the people that you worked with at Bed Bath & Beyond and ask them, or that I'm sure that you know a lot of suppliers through the industry also.
Yeah. I'm just thinking that you probably have not because you asked not there, right? So ask people for some help there. What is it? What do I mean? If you guys are not familiar with what I'm talking about, if we go down to the bottom here. So recommendations is what they call it. This is like a letter of referral, a referral letter in the old days, right? And so they write they write recommendations for you. Now, what I did, just to be clear, I actually went through and erased ones that they were just saying nice things about me, but they didn't speak to my skills, right? So if it's not relevant to what you're doing, then what's the point of it? Like, read that one. Having connected to seeing Ira's work in action, it was the first person I turned to when I needed some digital work done. Professional, focused, detailed, and really carrying exactly everything you want. Definitely will hire and work with again. Definitely recommend you work with Ira too. So, I did logo work for Liz Jones. All these people I've done some work for in some capacity or the other. I animated her logo. I built her website. I've worked with all these people. I'm actually building a website right now for Virginia's husband at West Bay Global Services is one of my customers. I'm building their website right now. I've built 4 of them for these guys and for Virginia and her husband throughout the years. So anyways, that's what you should have. Now, I'm not saying that you need 54 of them. You don't have 30,000 connections. I don't expect you to have 54. But with 783 and 20 years on the job, Brian, I think that you should probably have at least 2 or 3. And certainly for the jobs I think that you should be going after based on your resume, you've got good experience here. You've got an associate's degree, which is probably one of your biggest, as you know, is probably the biggest thing holding you back. Some of those places are going to want that bachelor's degree. Let me give you all a word of encouragement. For those of you who don't know this, you can get your degree even now in your 40s. My brother is 41 years old, and he just finished his bachelor's degree, I want to say 2 weeks ago. Okay? You can do it online. I got my bachelor's degree. I was 37 years old. So I started college at the same time Brian did. And I didn't finish because I got married, started having babies, and we wanted to buy a house. So college stopped. But online school, you can still finish and get that bachelor's degree. Now you have an associate, so you're not starting from scratch. In fact, some of these colleges will actually take your professional resume and go, hey, I'm going to give you credit for these classes too. So they'll take anything that's accredited usually, plus some of your work experience, and go, okay, well, you don't need this class, you don't need that class, because we see from your resume you've done this. So they have a counselor basically. And if you're worried about how to pay for it, like I was helped by the Pell Grant, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, Pell Grant.
Yeah, so the Pell Grant paid for basically half of the finished. So I finished at Liberty University online. So you can do that. So just as a word of encouragement, if you're out there and you're like, man, what's always held me back is that degree, here's a suggestion for you that you guys maybe, maybe help you out.
I'm 56, and I finished my MBA in 2010.
Yeah, there you
go. I can't do the math; it's so far back, but
11 years ago.
I don't want to do the math.
I'm glad that you took that with the intent that we had. We're trying to help you guys get better, right? So all of this is always, the only reason I do this show is to help you guys out. Like, this is not about seeing my own face. I'm on TV, social media. I'm on social media enough. I don't need to do this just for myself. And as you guys know, like, my Project Help You Grow, is a completely free service. We're helping people because we're trying to help job seekers get the job. So that's, everything. And that's why I cut it to 5 minutes. I don't want anyone to go, man, Ira's really mean to me. Like, my goal is to make you better so that you can get more work. This is our friend, Richard DiPadilla. He is the man behind GGA, and Lisa's the woman behind GGA. And together they rule the world. And I'm a proud member. It's funny. Every once in a while, I get somebody who reaches out to me and go, I'd like to nominate you to be a GGA. I'm like, I've been GGA for a while, but thank you. Really appreciate that. Like, I do what I can. I don't like to brag about my philanthropy work. You know what I mean? So that's why I think sometimes people don't know that I'm a part of it. But I do whatever I can to help GGAs around the world. So if you're a GGA and you need some help, reach out to me and I'll see what I can do. Yeah, thank you, Richard. Yeah, so he didn't get to see it that day, but anyways, it was fun. We had a fun conversation. But Lisa and I were actually on the Zoom call, and I said, well, let me just share my screen and let's rock it out. So we did that day.
Yeah, it was great. I was watching you in Adobe, and I mean, I'm a big Canva user, so there's amazing things that you can create on Canva, like that thing on the wall behind me.
Canva is getting better and better all the time. Mm-hmm. My wife, in full disclosure, so now my wife works for Bowman Digital Media, and she's a full-time designer for us. So she does a lot of the blog covers and a lot of the meme type graphics that we'll use for posts and for comments for the clients that we service. She's doing a lot of those setups. I do more of the vector art, the custom vector work. So like what you're looking at behind you, if you needed that built from scratch, as an AI file, I would design that. But my wife does a lot of the Photoshop type work for just taking components, your digital library, slapping it together like you would in Canva. So Canva is comparable to Photoshop in a lot of ways. But, you can make GIFs on there. You can do little video intros and stuff. I mean, you can do a lot. You can do your cover photos. And again, it's free. Now, they have a pro version that you can buy. And I think, because of the 503c thing, if you're a 503c, you can actually get access to that pro level for free too. So yes, that's kind of cool. But anyways, we're at 1:15, which means we're already 15 minutes over for the week. So we're going to call it. But next week, assuming you want to keep coming back.
Welcome back. I still get a little nervous every now and then. So it's my first time with you on.
No, I think you did awesome.
For everybody to see us. So
I think it's good. So what we're going to do next week, everybody, is we're going to have a new segment for Lisa. And we're going to have to come up with a name for it, like Lisa's tips or, I don't know. We'll have to think of something.
We'll come up with something.
Yeah, we'll come up with something. But anyways, it'll be like a little 5-minute segment. If you want to look for that at like the 45-minute mark. I'm going to try to hit that 45-minute mark, because then when she's done, it'll be a 5-minute segment. Then we'll have like 10 minutes left to wrap it up. So we'll try to do the interviews and stuff. Yeah, she did awesome. You're natural at this.
Oh,
this is your wheelhouse. You do this for a living.
Thank you.
I knew you'd be good at it. What I'm encouraged by, Lisa, is nothing that you said. I don't disagree with anything you said. I think we're right on. We walk hand in hand on this stuff, which is kind of nice. So, anyways,
cool.
All right, y'all. So this is the Job Seeker Spotlight. Every Thursday, you can watch the show. It starts at 3 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern time, adjust for wherever you are. What is the point of the show? We're trying to get the job seekers into the spotlight so that you can get hired faster. That's the real main thing. We do two things here. We bring you on, which we didn't have anybody come on today. That happens. It's probably like every other show we have somebody come on. So we offer to have you come on and get interviewed so that you can take that interview and put that in the featured section, that first spot, right? So you cut it up. But if you don't want to do that more commonly, we do profile reviews. I told you that before the show started. Like this is going to be more common. For whatever reason, people don't want to come on the video. But we do these profile reviews. The point of the profile review is so that when a recruiter or an employer actually lands on your page, they have a better chance of asking you to come in and interview. You're not going to get the job from the profile, but you can't get the job in most cases without the interview. So the profile is important because that helps you to get the interview. And if you want help writing your resume, I happen to know a lady. She's sitting over here to my left on screen. Yeah, there she is. Hi. Lisa Jones runs Specialized Resume Services. So she is available for hire to write your resume. But if you have resume questions and you just want to ask us here on the show, we'll answer them for you, right? So we're not selling you anything on the show. Nothing for sale here. But if you're like overwhelmed, you're like, I don't want to write it. Like, for example, Bowman Digital Media, pretty much people could do everything I do for them themselves if they really wanted to. But they either don't know how, they don't have the time, or they just don't like it. And so they hire me to do it for them, and that's totally fine. And so resume writer is kind of the same thing. I probably won't write my resume ever again. Even if I ever did shut my business down and go to work for somebody, I would probably just hire somebody to do it.
Well, a lot of people have a hard time writing about themselves.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Now, what other services do you provide? So you provide obviously CV and resume writing. What else?
Academic CVs, LinkedIn profiles, resumes, federal resumes, bios, help with your college essays, entrance.
Any coaching?
Interview coaching.
There you go. Okay.
And interview coaching and job search coaching. I don't do the career coaching.
You know what I want to do next week? I'm going to do a segment next week too. Next week, I'm going to talk to you guys. You have to remind me, but I want to talk to you guys about salary negotiations.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know how to negotiate salary, and they're cutting their nose off to spite their face because they're going in from a position of weakness because they really want that job. So they're going undervalued. But then they find out after they get the job that the company has a policy where they don't do raises. They don't even look at raises usually for 2 to 3 years. So now you went in under thinking that, well, I'm just going to impress them and now I'm going to get a quick raise. And then you find out that you're not even going to get a raise for 2 or 3 years. So I want you to go in with a different mindset. I'm going to teach you Ira's mindset, which can be a scary place, but I would teach you this so that you can be better prepared for what to ask for, because that question will come. If they're serious about hiring you, before they hire you, they're going to ask you, what do you need to make? Mm-hmm. And I want to teach you how to answer that question. There is a system. Don't worry. I have a blog, so you won't even have to memorize it all. I have a blog written that you can access for free. You don't even have to sign in or give me your contact information. I'm just going to show you where to get it. And you have it. And I promise you won't even get an email from me because I don't send emails via Project Help You Grow unless I absolutely have to respond to somebody's request. But I'm going to talk about that because that's the other part that I think we've never addressed it on this show that I can remember. And it's a critical part of the process. It's the final step, really. But once you get the job, you don't want to have to go find another job like a side hustle or quit because you don't make enough money to pay the bills. You got to be able to make enough to cover the cost of living for a couple of years, 3 years. You got to think about inflation even. Like how much is my house going to cost? How much is it going to be to fill the tank, parking, all the different things, dating your significant other, I almost said spouse, but, all that stuff. Like I have 2 kids in college, so how much does that cost me? Arm and a leg, you know what I mean? Anyways, you got to think about all that stuff. So we'll talk about it at length next week because I think that'll help. Again, my name is Ira. My new co-host, Lisa. We're out of here. We
See
did
you
it.
next week.
Yeah, thanks for you did a good job, as Richard said. You did a good job. So good on you, mate.
Thank you, sir.
All right, look forward to it. You're gonna name this thing, or do I gotta come up with a name?
I don't know. I can try to get creative.
All right, I'll give you a couple days, then I'll start bouncing ideas.
Okay. All right.
All right, we'll see y'all later. BowmanDigitalMedia.com.